I never thought I would make a review like this, but this is an impromptu review of Castration Movie Anthology 2, The Best of Both Worlds, a film about Louise Weard, who by the end of it I just saw the first film before, and now that I've seen the second film in full, I can now say it has gotten me gripped from top to bottom, from beginning to end, in an emotional way. And I feel, especially for the movie, that I think I should probably warn you about sort of like maybe spoilers of like the whole movie or something. So like you can probably get an idea what this is all about. But I definitely will recommend this movie a lot aside of like the first one if you're not aware of it. So like the thing is, Castration Movie Anthology 2 follows the plot of a trans woman in New York who's trying to escape from a separatist trans cult. And what I can gather from this is that it's not really, you can really indicate you in through the whole movie that even though it's pretty much like a so-called utopia of sorts, it's not a good place to be, especially in very polarized and intense political times like today. Remember that this film was made in 2025, just when Trump was on the presidency and everything's going bananas in the US and everything like that. So, take that into consideration. But I think the film kind of captures the the kind of like a grip of emotional burden into you in a way that it captures your emotions and makes you ride in like this sort of like emotional roller coaster of sorts. And especially considering some parts of the movie make you feel like you're in the location, spending that time with the characters in some way or another. Like for instance, they're sort of like talking at a party, and like you can feel the time passing by of like the characters talking to the party about the separatist trans cult or something like that. And it's very telling. This is a bit of an unraveling of the plot in some way or another, but I think it's sort of like a bit of like an unconventional storytelling type of thing, where like the previous movie, like the filming is raw and human, and sort of like has a human nature into it that I barely see in like big studio films or whatever that is, even the Christopher Nolan films or something like that, right? Kind of pale in comparison to how human this film feels and how emotionally gripping it is. And I think it's especially considerable that a large chunk of the film, remember that this second film is also like 5 hours, so it's not pretty much an easy watch in one go, but even then, um, you can feel like you're there. You can feel like you're in the situation, like the, like that part of the movie where they're doing their thing and so like passing time in there. And especially by the end where it is especially uncomfortable to feel there, to just be there in the so like polygon trans-separatist cult of sorts, that where everyone is barking at the main protagonist circle, and like the in like the sort of like a punishment type of thing where she got trapped into like this sort of like a fake contract of sorts, where she like sort of gets encaged naked in like a like the fashion of a dog. And it's especially uncomfortable with moments like these, but you feel it, you just feel it in the rawness of like the the sort of like the raw emotion that that evokes into you in some way or another, and it's done very well for like the situational filmmaking that there is, and like the sort of like you know the entire crudeness of the sort of like the way of filming that, which again it drags on for a long time in the scene, and basically sort of like makes you feel like you're spending the time in there in the location and in the moment, basically. So like it's like the movie kind of like puts you in there, and I feel like another plus of the movie is that I feel like a lot of the characters, are somewhat kind of relatable in some way or another. Like especially Circle, where like she feels like that something is not normal about the cult, and like she feels like she needs to get out in some way or another. I mean, even then, like I think it's kind of like a big spoiler about it, but like the feeling of Circle not being a trans woman, and like so like being like the transitioning in back into a man by the end of the movie is a bit like it's sort of like a bad ending for transgender woman in some way or another, and that carries like a heavy emotional baggage to the audience, the viewer, the spectator of the movie, and I feel especially with that certain you know twist of the movie, it feels like actually this is very clever. But even then, the premise of the movie is basically like a horror movie in some way or another related to trans woman, some or something similar, except like the horror movie makes it clearly evident that both the entirety of the movie and the ending of the movie is like how a horror movie should end, but at least the movie doesn't make it that clearly obvious. It make like it at first glance the ending might seem like a good ending or something like that for anyone who's not trans, but like for anyone who's like a trans woman like me, especially, this feels like a bad ending to like like a horrifying horror movie about trans woman, and that by itself is like the incredible plus of this movie. I love this movie so far as it goes. Bottom line of this, do I recommend both movies, like the Castration Movie Anthology 1 Traps and Castration Movie Anthology 2 The Best of Both Worlds. And especially like the cover of the film where like it's hand drawn, and I like the style of the artwork in the cover art. But generally speaking, like I recommend both films, especially the second one is more like a horror experience for like trans woman, especially if you can get the messaging of the whole movie entirely. And I feel like I will honestly, wholeheartedly, even though both movies are a bit of an emotional hard watch, I still will recommend these both movies, and I will wholeheartedly give my seal of approval to both movies. And I swear to God, these are some of the best films I ever seen in my life. And I'm not exaggerating with that. I think these movies excel my expectations, and I think they delivered where the promise in like the general feeling of it. So that's just about it. I hope you enjoy this introductory review of Castration Movie Anthology 2. And then like probably I'll see you next time whenever that probably there's some bit more of content or something. I make new music, by the way. I got like a new album in the works for next year, so like you can probably check that out soon. And by the way, the Princess of Darkness LP is gonna come out soon, so yeah, I'll see you next time then. I love you all, my sweet little babies.